Good Friday evening, everybody. Welcome to a very special edition of. Actually, I don't even know what it's. This is a very special stream tonight. Well, reset. Let me just. I botched everything. Let me just restart everything again. Forget beam everything else I said before this. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a wonderful Friday night. I hope your week has been lovely as your dinner hopefully was. For those who are joining us for the first time, my name is Jared, and I'm using my radio announcer voice because in my head, this is how all streams should start. I haven't done this sort of stream ever before, so tonight's a really special night because this time it's the first ever time I've ever been given a code specifically by the developers to play the game. And what game is it? It's going to be Detective Hindsight by Broccoli Bunny Studios. A little bit about this game. This is the studio's first ever game. It's literally their debut game. And a little bit of the story behind this was that basically the studio here is based here in Singapore, and they were hanging out in one of those SGGA drink ups, if you're familiar with them. It's basically this gathering of developers on a monthly basis kind of thing, right? But a bunch of us, we sat down, we were just talking about games and stuff, and apparently I left an impression. So a couple of months later, I bumped into them again during the last drink up, and one of the developers was like, "Hey Jared, our game's up on Steam. I want to give you a code. Would you mind giving us some feedback?" And I was like, "Sure, I wouldn't mind at all. Just send me code." And sort of almost in a jokingly manner, I said, unless of course you're okay with me streaming it. Knowing that, hey, the game isn't technically out yet, and it's at this phase where we're like, oh yeah, we're just gonna be, just trying. He's taking feedback and they're trying to take feedback and trying to improve on a game, right? So yeah. So I jokingly asked at the same time, unless of course you're okay with me streaming it. Unexpectedly, they said yes. So I said, okay, if that's happening, let's do it. Mind you, at the time, I hadn't asked this question. I probably should have, but shortly before this stream, as I was preparing all the assets and everything else, I wanted to do some due diligence, because if I'm going to be giving critique live on stream, and this is important, and I want you guys to listen to this as I frame this up, they want feedback to improve the game, but I feel like feedback needs to be framed in a state where you are very aware of what the state of the game is in the eyes of the developer. And what that means is that there is a huge difference between a game, how you give feedback for a game that is in its initial proof of concept phase versus when it's in its late beta phase, or when it's, oh yeah, we're about to go live phase. Very, very different ranges of feedback. So I asked at the time, and once again, I really should have asked before I said, yeah, let's stream this. I asked them, hey, what state do you think the game is at? What state would you say your game is at? And I said, hey, is it I gave an example. It's do you think it's 80% finish, or, and all that kind of stuff. And I kid you not, he was very honest to me about this and said, it's more like 1/8. So I was thoroughly amused. But that is the exact same framing I feel like we need to keep in mind when we're looking at what we're going to be doing here tonight. We're going to be looking at a game that, by the developer's own admission, is about 1/8 complete, right? So we're going to give feedback based on that context. And keep in mind, this is also a Steam demo, right? So, and it's their first game, so everything's going to be framed in with that in mind. All right. Having said that, let's get into the game. Now, I'm going to read off the material a little bit here, because this is actually sort of the game's description as they are giving it to us. Oh, and by the way, this is a small note for optimization purposes. They clearly have not optimized the game. So every time I tab out of the game, the whole game just falls silent. The game doesn't even have a setting where I can change resolution. So it's actually in a window in the screen, right, that I don't usually stare at when I'm playing. So if you've seen my other my other playthroughs for like gaming and stuff like that, you'll notice that my head is actually tilted differently from this one particular one, because this one is really locked into one of my other screens. So anyways, so about the game, this is from their press release, or basically their press kit. Solve a variety of perplexing cases in the sleuthing shoes of Detective Hindsight, who gets help from Phoebe, a young orphaned girl with dreams of being a storyteller and powers to look into the past. Uncover the truth with her sketches done in crayon. The catch? She can't draw very well. Well, so that's the developer's description of the game. I'm looking forward to it a little bit, but I also want to add on top of that I don't usually play detective games. Thankfully, this game actually has a difficulty option, which is kind of cute. Which is very thoughtful for them. Honestly, more thoughtful than I would have expected for a first game. But I'm going to leave it at that first. Let's give it a try and see how it goes. So, first impressions, by the way, love the music. Vibe checks really nice. The beat and the animation frames are more or less in sync, so you can get this vibe, this slow detective noir vibe pretty quickly and nice. So kudos to that. That's actually, for what it's worth, at least for a vibe check, it's, you know, pretty solid. Right, so let's go into play. Sound effects, no voice acting, so I will be supplying it this time. Horror. What's so difficult about looking through some documents to detect fraud? Left click E or space to continue. Okay, I'm just gonna do space. Idiot could even cover his tracks properly. This is a waste of my time. They should have given this case to a rookie. It's already 12:17. AM or PM? No idea. Old Margaret usually has a poker game around this time. It's a long time since I visited her at the orphanage. Okay, let me try that again. Old Margaret usually has a poker games around this time. It's been a long time since I visited her at her orphanage. It's a longer time since I've beaten her at poker. Hello, Janky. The line's a bit weird, but yeah, not horrible. And for a few rounds, I need a little breather. Use A, D, or left and right arrow keys to move. Alright, cool. I'm actually going to use A and D then. Oh, it's a side scroller. E to exit. That seems interesting. Meet Margaret at the orphanage. This is really personal, but like, the fact that tasks is center aligned, but because Margaret at the orphanage is like fully flushed, it looks like it's left aligned, and it distracts me a little bit. It is cute that the instructions are more or less like, this entire scene is more or less a illustration. Like, you can see the instructions are just like stuck there, right? It's cute. Yeah, any adjustments is probably personal preference. I'm still okay. And just where do you think you're off to? There's been a car crash on 17th Street. Casualties haven't been identified yet, but based on what I've heard on the radio, it's bad. We need to go now. What do you need me for? Didn't you listen? Weren't you listening? It's bad, and we need all hands on deck. I'm a detective. You don't need me to review a few street cameras. Punctuation? Just ask the rookies to go through the recordings to find the victims and culprits. Call me when you have an actual case. I need to take care of something. Don't even know why I bothered asking you. There's a small touch here that I feel like I want to give credit to. And once again, developer says this is 1/8 finish, right? Like, this is a small little touch that I would expect as a part of a polish game. Is the little tiny bits of animation they're adding to the sign. Like, you can see the floating instructions, like, just fritzing a little bit. Like, there's a small animation sketchiness to it all. Like, I'm not very sure of exact way to, like, whether there's a formal way to describe this, but like there's this very nice ink movement kind of thing going on with it. My only weird thing about it though is that, and as you can see, once we return to the room, right, it exists on these floating signs that appear because they're prompted. But the initial instructions, the one that tells you that, hey, A or D to move left and right, doesn't actually have the same like the same effect. And once again, obviously this might be something they'll be adding later, but it is worth like sort of noticing as we go along. Very likely hand drawn, if that's the case. Nice foreground and background gives a good depth of field to a side-scrolling experience. The TV shop, selling telephones for some reason. Nameless bakery. And a church, I assume. Oh, it's not a church. Is this not a church? Is this a church?
Huh.
Well, I can't do female voices, by the way. Well, if this isn't the Star Detective. Been a while since you've graced us with your presence. Just doing my job as a good citizen of Sin City. Okay, guys. I'm gonna like, you know, guys, devs. You've got to change the name of the city. I'm sorry to tell you this. I know you might not know this, but Sin City is already a thing. Like, as in, it's actually the name of a series, a comic series, if I'm not mistaken. And it's fairly iconic, especially for anyone who's above the age of 30. So you might want to change the name of your city. I know this is weird to hear. But yeah, as a rule, you might want to check, like, just Google all your proper nouns and use that as a sanity check to make sure you don't stumble into these kind of things. Because, yeah, Sin City is a pretty big IP on top of that. So, like, you might not be aware of it, but you really don't want to step on this. At least, I wouldn't want to. Just doing my job as a good citizen of Sin City, which is more than I can say about how you run your little poker games, Margaret. Hey now, willing players, willing losers. The kids here get new toys from my winnings anyway. You wouldn't want to break their little hearts, would you? And what makes you so sure you're going to win this time? Your lucky streak will end eventually.
Huh.
You've been saying that since the day you joined our games. Someone's a sore loser. That's... wouldn't quite call that a sore loser, but sure. Hey, I'm feeling lucky today. This time for sure. Anything you say. Anyway, help me clean up the table while I find the cards. The others are running a little late.
Huh?
What? Here? With the kid? Oh, Phoebe? She likes to draw at the table. Don't worry about it. She never bothers us while we're playing anyway. Shouldn't she be outside playing with the other kids? She's not breaking anything, so I'm not complaining. Plus, the little gremlins are a little too rowdy for her. Ow! Miss Margaret, help! Oh, for crying. Joseph, no biting during playtime. I swear, before this job, I never knew the devil could manifest this young. Cute.
Huh?
Wait, you're just gonna leave me here? You can't deal with one child. Help Margaret clear the table. I refuse. What happens if I go out? You just choose to walk around. Oh, I can't do anything. Okay. By the way, this might be a personal preference thing, but like, I do wish there was more in the foreground. I've seen games like this a little bit, and like, it always feels nicer when, like, to me at least, right? Like, when there's the shadows of buildings in front of me, or stalls at least, something that makes me feel like the world is a little bit more somehow like solid for some reason. I don't know why it adds to it, and I wish I could tell you, because this is perfectly serviceable, and there's a very reasonable school of thought that would argue with me and say, no, Jared, you'd want a situation where you could see the layout perfectly. It's clean, it's pretty, it's ideal. Like, you have a clean UI. What's wrong with a clean UI? What do you have against a clean UI? And you're absolutely right. And but yeah, like I feel like for games, like noir games in particular, like that little depth of field, the throw of a shadow, gives it a little bit of a vibe, you know? Especially if it does this thing where, like, as you're transiting between, you're scrolling across the side, right? You get this scene where it's like, oh, for example, based on this game, you're crossing the police station where it's like you want to make it feel heavier and darker. What happens is there's more shadows and the colors are a little bit darker or a little bit colder. And then as you approach the orphanage, right, the colors shift. You make it a little bit brighter, the shadows are less apparent, and then gradually you don't have to make, like, you know, the light of God kind of thing, right? But you can still just do a little bit of just a small tonal shift, a small color shift, and just have less things in the background and show like, oh yeah, it's clearer around the orphanage, and like it'll make it feel a little bit more brighter, just to give it a little bit of contrast. Don't know whether that intention fits with you guys, but first thoughts. Anyway. He's not cleaning the table. I'm not cleaning the table. I wonder what she's drawing. It's not that bad.
Huh?
Yikes. Awfully morbid for a kid. What's morbid? It's one of those big words you'll learn when you grow up. Oh, okay. Well, do you want to see the rest of my morbid drawings? It's never mind. Quick check. Is never mind one or two words? Sure, kid. Not like I have that much to do now anyway. Okay, there you go. Writing preferences. That's a nice cabinet. No, that's the thing that plays music and has people inside talking. Hey, right now it's saying, mark your calendars at 20th August, or should I say tomorrow, for Smooth Jazz Inc.'s concert, live right here in Sin City. Never mind should be 2 words in almost all context. Never mind, 1 word is part of the colloquial expression. Pay something to never mind. Sorry, pay something, no, never mind. Thank you for the call out. I'm perfectly comfortable with that, and it's a really weird thing. And so that's the thing. That's the nature of language, right? Like, because how we technically spell stuff, and even write things out, like, evolves and changes over time depending on popular expressions. I think like one of the best examples of this is Futurama's like how they like depicted the future, where instead of saying ask you something, they say ask you something. And it's like how like mispronunciations become popular, and eventually it just goes down, like it becomes the dominant way, and eventually becomes the only way that you say or express something. Another very good example of this is like the dropping of U's in many spellings. So much so that nowadays there's a lot of text and content that like actively think that like honor is spelled without a U, and the instant you put it in, it's a spell check error. So stuff like that. But yes, never mind is 2 words. Duly noted. Right now it's saying, okay, sorry, that's pretty specific. What a weird kid. Here's another one. I really shouldn't do the voice for Phoebe, because I'm probably gonna make her sound like Mickey Mouse or something, and a really bad one too. Same place, but it's a little different. Someone's dead? He's surprisingly sure. Oh, that lady's just sleeping. That's why she's not saying anything. Maybe I should talk to Margaret to get this kid some help. Wait, this call reads 12:02 p.m. Jenkins did mention about a car accident happening around 12. Maybe the kid heard about it just now. Okay, pet peeve. Pet peeve. I have done no work in discovering what the name of that previous officer was. He was introduced to me with question marks. You don't have to entertain this complaint, but it does annoy me that his name is dropped here for some reason. And like, I don't see why you wouldn't just give me the name in the first place. Because it's not like the question marks imply that the character is new to Hindsight at all. Like, Hindsight would know this colleague of his that he's working with, right? So like, why would you need to put the question marks? Now, if there's a gameplay reason, maybe we'll find out later. But it does seem like it's not necessary. Let's move on. Are those drawings? Are these drawings connected somehow? Hey kid, got any other drawings? Mm-hmm. Can you tell me more about these people and more about these people in the drawings? Okay. Let me recap some things as a warm-up. Let's first open my case file and grab my case summary. I'm being overly pedantic. It is a... It's calling this a warm-up. Like, it's the flow and the context feels a bit off. I've got a rough outline on what happened. Okay, it's auto-playing. This is really annoying. It's moving faster than I can read. Once I submit my answers, I'll go through them again to see if they make sense. Completing this means I have successfully solved the case, but let's put that aside for now. Small thing on my side. So two things so far. Get it that this is a tutorial. One of it is make sure tutorial tips actually only turn when you prompt them, because you don't want a situation like clicks are not just clicks. Clicks are actual prompts for the player to say like, hey, do you register this? It's a reason why you should be very sensitive about how clicks are used or taps are prompted in your games, because one, it takes effort. Number two, it's a conscious call to the player to like, hey, register this, like, you know, actively register this. So if you ask the player to do it too many times, it breaks flow and becomes very distracting. I think one of the best examples of this is actually a more recent Star Rail content release, and it was actually kind of annoying because yes, you were teaching me everything, but holy shit, does like everything at least have like anywhere between 6 to 7 clicks, and it's just constantly prompting you in the middle of battle, outside of battle, and it's just a lot of prompts. I get that you want to provide context and stuff, but it is so annoying that like I can't speed through it, right? That obviously doesn't apply necessarily here, but if you're doing a tutorial, it is a better idea to always prompt for each screen change or like every text change, so that you make sure that the player actually registers what's actually said on screen. I know it can be annoying, but the point here is in tutorials especially that you don't want players to miss it, right? So the intent here is important. Number two, it's noticeable that you did, like they did sort of darkened the screen already, with the intent here is like, oh, this button is lit up, this arrow here is white, it's clearly lighter than the surrounding space. You got this white base as a reference as well, so you can see that this is lighter, and this is obviously lighter as well, the top here. But make it more obvious is what I'm saying. Like, if you already don't want me to look anywhere else, it shouldn't matter too much if you increase the opacity of the darkening layer. And I'm making an assumption that that's how it's done, by the way. If you use some other ways, then, you know, by all means, whatever means you need. But just make the contrast a little bit more obvious, because there is, at this point, is there a reason that I should be reading anything else anyway? If there isn't, then just dark it out. Like, obviously you don't want to make it black, because if you made it black, then I have no context, I have no idea what's behind it. The point of it being a transparent thing is to make sure that I have some sense of its surroundings as I'm clicking onto it, right? But at the same time, like when it's like this and the difference between colors aren't immediately like striking, sometimes it's not as obvious because you are using like white here and there's no circles, no nothing, anything else, then you probably want a situation where the white and the surrounding areas especially looks more stark and more obvious. Obviously there are other ways to make it more obvious, but like I'm just assuming that you don't. If you do other examples, say for example you can have the words click here or look here, you know, or alternatively just have these prompts, right, show up very close to the arrows and, you know, make it like that much more obvious. This is about bringing the bar lower so that players don't have to even think about it anymore, because do you really need the players to think at this point? I've rearranged the kids' drawings based on time and location. I should check out the later time frames to make sure I arrange them correctly. Yep, this drawing happened in a later time than the previous drawing. I prefer the other drawing. Sure, let me get back to the earliest time frame. Oh, mister, I drew arrows on the drawings. Arrow, actually, does that make it clearer on how the locations are going? Thanks, kid. Hey, you should tap it. It will bring you to the next place. Sure. But I like these. I like the first drawing more. Go back, please. If you hold shift, you can see some things dance. That dance? Wait, what shift? If you tap on any dancing drawings, you can tell. I can tell you what they say. Sure. Tell me what this one says. Which one? Oh, okay. So the game. I'm actually not pressing. I'm not pressing shift anymore, and it's still dancing. That's very. Okay, I should highlight the information and add it to my notepad. I see you. Oh wait, it doesn't. Okay, so. Cute. Is this? I can also write any information or my thoughts onto my notepad. You should write 5 letters. Why I like 5? Sure. Write 5 letters into my notepad. Oh. Okay. That's. Wait, what? If you type outside the text box, you can close the text box. What does this kid saying? I should also review my other notes. I'll be the first to tell you that tutorial crafting is a skill. I don't need to fill these up to solve the case, but it might help ensure I'm on the right track. But you get to name that dog. Yeah, well, I guess I do. I should try to write something in the blank. Write 8 letters this time. I should try dragging words from your notepad and dropping them into the blanks. Yeah, sure. If I want to write in my notepad as I'm reviewing my files, I should take the pencil. 7 letters this time. What? Wait, what? What's... Okay, the speech bubble is blocking the hint. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing. If I want to write in my notepad as I'm reviewing my files, I should take the pencil. Alright, that's the end. Time to get solving. So deleting also counts as a character for now. I'm sorry, I think there might be a message that's missing in there. Oh, okay, so I'm seeing it. Okay, so let's review the tutorial bits a bit. Like, so this is a thing. So the shift does show like those squigglies. Not using hints and solving the solution using your own valid assumptions is a core part of this game. Before you access the hints, we would like you to ask yourself these questions first. Did you make any typos? Are you sure? Have you looked at all the objects in the scenes? Have you verified all your assumptions? Cool. So this is a hint button. Not telling me is a sin. Can I exit this somehow? No, I can't. What is this button? What is this? Okay, so these are characters. How did I crop into this previously? How did this UI trigger for me? I don't see any way for me to get out of it though. Okay, so I guess this is the game now. Okay. Once again, like, massive asterisks here. Like, one, I'm not familiar with the genre, so if this is a trope or a convenience that the genre tends to employ, I do apologize if this feedback may not be relevant. But I am somewhat confused. First, the premise is set up in such a way that says, I don't like, I'm very much set aside from the accident, and there is like nothing that I can there's stuff that like other people can do and stuff like that. I understand that is sort of a conceit of the trope, and it's usually a premise where it's like, oh yeah, hey, you're this guy that's like, you're made aware of the incident, but you're not interested in doing anything about it, and then by sheer happenstance you are dragged into a position where you can suddenly help solve it. I get that is the conceit of what some part of this trope it's supposed to be doing, but the game doesn't flow into this space very naturally. It does make, once again, like, it does make a call where it's like, why is 7-letter and not 7-letter? Yeah, the tutorial like just cut me off when I was writing 7-letter, and like by the time I got to E, it just cut me off. I don't know whether it's a timing thing or it's doing like key tracking, but yeah, it just cut me off, and I'm just not bothered to like change it at this moment. But yeah, so as I was saying, the flow of the game does this thing where it tells me, it makes a callback to Jenkins saying, oh yeah, hey, there was this whole accident and everything else, and then it does this whole tutorial thing. Now, I don't know whether it's because of the 1-2 punch of the information that's just flowing out and not like pacing it along, but I feel like I feel like what it really needs is this moment where it goes, hey, is this the accident that Jenkins was talking about? And then going along the lines of, oh crap, it wasn't like, is this what caused it? You know, and stuff like that. Like, could this be what caused it? Let me see if I can piece the facts of it together. Like, really just like did Phoebe see something? Like, you sort of hint at this kind of thing and make it very clear that that's what is going to be happening here. Because like, what Phoebe can do is not something I know immediately. She's just like, like the story was implying, like she just draws randomly morbid stuff, and a reasonable assumption would be like, oh, holy shit, did the kid see something, right? And then it's like she's just sketching stuff and everything else. So yeah, then you're trying to see whether they fulfill the criteria in your head. Like, it's like, oh, does it tell the story that you want to tell? And then when you discover at this point, like at a later point, when you discover that she did all of this without actually going out or talking to anybody or anything else like that, then it's like, oh, you start hinting and seeing her powers and stuff like that. Like, this is how you actually can very organically develop a scene where you introduce her powers and stuff, you know? But right now the problem is like, it's just throwing me into the premise. Like it's throwing me right into the game, which is cool, but not necessarily introducing the premise in a way that like is organic to this, to a story's flow. Yeah. So anyway, hey man, thanks for covering for me today on such short notice. I didn't know Julie was going to surprise me with a holiday. I only knew this morning. No problem. I have something I'm busy with this Thursday anyway, so it works out. So one side says, hey man, thanks for covering me for today on such short notice. I didn't know Julie was going to cover... I didn't know Julie was going to surprise me with a holiday. I only knew this morning. I have something busy with this Thursday anyway, so it all works out. So basically, this is definitely not Thursday, right? By the way, if this annoys anyone. Nothing here is... I hope you're okay, Fluffy. Fluffy was last seen Tuesday on the 12th. Please come forward with any information. Okay, so Tuesday is the 12th. Tomorrow is 20th of August. So tomorrow is the 20th of August. Today's date is the 19th. So if this is true, then it's a week later. So it's basically 12. 12 is Tuesday. 13 is Wednesday. Thursday. Yep. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Right? What? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we're back to Tuesday again. Alright, so today is Tuesday. Let's go back into that. Day of the week. It's Tuesday. Right? Okay. Does this autosave for me? Do I have to come back to this? No, yep, it autosaves for me. That's good. Okay, we've worked out Tuesday. Alright. What's in there? Okay, that seems to be here. On duty, Benjamin Frank, Caleb Simmons, Robert Jules, Liam Parker, Adam Clements, Alex Mitchell. Why does Alex Mitchell sound so familiar as a name? The dog drawing is absolutely charming. Yeah, I know, right? It's definitely on their poster somewhere. Abner Torres. Abner Torres is definitely an anagram for something. Like, that just feels like that just has anagrams, like, screamed all over it. Those are the dates on the work schedule. So clearly everyone works one-day weeks here, which is hilarious as far as I'm concerned. Breaking news, a high-speed chase is happening through our streets. Be on the lookout for Pavlov Manus and his eye-patched assistant. Any liars? Manus? Pavlov Manus? And his eye-patched assistant, Kenny Liars. Hey, stop! Well, since it's the 19th, I assume that this is the case, then, like, Robert Jules is on duty. Right. Yes, Samantha Green, table for two. Yes, I confirm my car plate ends with a Y. Green. Driver. Is it gas? Is gas a separate click? No, it's not. Fluffy is still definitely last seen on the 12th. Okay. Still the same list. This just in. We have to report that the criminals were involved in a road accident. Uh, 957J. R8. SGJK 6. 336Y. So Samantha Green, driver's one is definitely 336Y because that's what her thing is supposed to end with. Just my luck. Just my luck. And Fluffy is still last seen on Tuesday. Okay. So the red one is red car. Right. We don't know what this green car is. So it's either between 957J, SGJ6, or SPA 8. Let's look into that. What a tragic event. 3 people died. The crossing guard, which is Robert Jules, I assume, because I have no context for what shop that is, and it's the only answer that makes any sense to me. Oh, sorry, my bad. And it's really pretentious of me to assume that Jules is the last name, isn't it? Does anything on the chart actually tells me it is the last name? No, it's not. So is this a city where the last name comes first or the first name comes last? Samantha Green. A local woman and nope, this wasn't it. Eye patch Kenny Liars. By the way, this is a bit weird. So I know this is not what the hell? Oh, okay. Well, that was weird. Okay. Anyways. So what was it? Liars. Took over the shift from so I assume Robert is the guy that took over, because since he was supposed to be working, took over the shift from who was supposed to be working on so if Robert Jules is taking it, Liam Parker, I believe. Thursday. Oh wait, no, that's not true. Thursday is 2 days later, so it's supposed to be Adam Clements. Interesting. All right. Oh, here we are. Working on Thursday instead. The license plate of the car crash was 336Y, and the truck was, how the heck did we? How do we know the truck one? No, nothing here. Okay, that's fine. So am I just going to assume I guess I have to assume. Because there wasn't isn't a indication of the car plate. So there's 4 options for me, so I have to make an educated guess. So assuming that this is somehow the one for the car, I like red car, green plates. So I'm guessing green truck. Green truck, red plates? I think I'm quite far off. Oh god, that is horrible. The crossing guard isn't. Okay, so he's the one that's supposed to be working on Tuesday. Here's the 19th. Is it because of this? Did I somehow like... So Adam Clemens is the guy that's dead? No. Oh wait, yeah. Adam Clemens is the guy that's dead because Adam Clemens. Okay, this is obviously a mistake. Oh, and I can't drag from here, by the way. So Adam Clemens was working today, so Robert Jules is the one that's not there. So this is a mistake. This is but it's kind of weird that I can't just, right? Ah, here we are. That's how it works. Okay, cool. This is a bit weird, but it is definitely something that is distracts me a bit, which is I need to click on words to highlight them. Like I can't click on the space to highlight them because normally when you highlight, right, you click on the space before and then you drag it across. But in this game particularly, it's click on a word and then you just drag it across. Either one or two off. What is the dog's name? Did I miss the dog's name? F-U-F-F-O-Y. Okay, so yeah, so that's F-U-F. Did I? F-L-U-F-F-Y. Okay. Right. F-L-U-F-F-Y, right? Try that again. F-L-U-F-F-Y. Okay, that's correct. Samantha Green. Samantha Green. Alright, cool. That seems okay. And then that's Samantha Green. That sounds about right. CarPlay ends with a Y. That's more or less correct. So he has that blue same top. Okay. Wait, why am I... Is it not Robert Jules? Yes, it is Robert Jules. And then Adam... Thursday should be 2 days later, which is Adam Clements. Okay. Right. I can practically like memorize what you're saying already. Three, 6Y, okay. Seems fine. Okay, that seems fine. There's one-eyed patch guy, which is Robert Jules, right? His eye patch isn't Kenneth, Kenny Liars. Yeah, that's right. Pavlov Manus. Okay. So, what the hell? There we got it. Like, what the hell? Okay, so we're trying to 3 people died. The crossing guard is Adam Clements. Localman and Kenny Lars. So wait, the guy who died is Papa Manus. My mistake. Because Kenny actually ran away. So it happened on Tuesday. And then Adam Clements took over from Robert Jules, who was supposed to be working on Thursday instead. There we go. What? Okay, so first, don't know whether the capital matters. Okay, there we have it. And the only thing that matters now is this car plate number. Since we tried the J1, doesn't work. I really wish strangely, I wish the... Oh, shit. It stretched all the way down. Okay, this is also another thing. Like, I really wish there was a prompt that tells me, like, it was at the bottom. Oh god, I totally missed this. Well, the only thing left is this one. Let's give that a try. Okay, let's try this again. Adam Clements is the guy that's dead. Robert Jules is the one that was supposed to be working on... Oh. I'm assuming this is Tuesday. Oh, I'm further away. Is it? This is weird. Okay, so this is definitely correct. How about on Tuesday, Adam Clements took over the shift from Robert Jules. Robert Jules is correct. Instead, Pavlo Manus is the one who's dead. Samantha Green is the one that's dead. And yeah, Adam Clements should be the one that's dead. Adam Clements took over the shift from Robert Jules, who was supposed to be working on Tuesday instead. This was Smart 8. Either 1 or 2 more. Okay, so somehow this obviously helps. So Spy is correct. Is it this one? Okay, that's not right. Is it a Spy 8 issue? Did I mistake the... It's 336Y? Okay. Okay. Also, side note. I really wish I can highlight and delete stuff. Adam Clemens, Samantha Green, Pavlov Manus. Adam Clemens, Pavlov Manus, and Samantha Green. Alright. Adam Clemens, Samantha Green, Pavlov Manus. A wanted criminal. Okay. Happened on Tuesday, Adam Clemens took over the shift from Robert Jules, who is supposed to be working on Tuesday. That is correct. Okay, no, so it's supposed to be working on Tuesday. Okay, that is correct. I swear it's really probably just this. No. No. We got Adam Clemens' name correct, therefore he has to be on a Thursday. And the fact that him moving forward is a good thing, so that means I definitely have the names correct. And you're supposed to be working on a Thursday, so this is supposed to be the Thursday. I think it's a weird sentence structure issue. This reads wrong. I think I know what it wants me to do, and I'm going to do it. And my suspicion is that, like, it makes no sense. I know, right? I need to control Z also for this game. At least the tab button works. The woman says the car plate ends with a Y, so the other one must be the truck. Oh, no, that's not it. Okay. I understand now. Okay. It's not that. God damn it. It is a dumb thing. These are two halves of a number plate. So it's supposed to be this and then this. And then this. And then this. So so in this case it should be SPA 8336Y SGJ 6957J. And then right, SGJ 6957J. 83336Y. 83336Y. SGJ 6959. Oh, sorry. 7J. Okay. I'm trying to decide whether I'm satisfied. Ah. No, I think I'm okay. I guess. Sort of. Because, like, I think it's somewhat reasonable to assume, like, hey, I don't know. I feel like it's not wrong. Like, I certainly did feel like I was forced to use the hint. Is it right to make the assumption that if I give you 4 things that look broken, that you would eventually assume that they would be 2 halves of like 2 separate things? I think it's fair. I think it's fair. It could be just me like not being familiar with the genre. So yeah, I guess it's fair. Let's go on. Well, did I get it right? Nailed it. Bet this kid's too impressed to speak. Mister, kind of weird. We overestimated this kid's intelligence. We're going to have to cancel the poker game. And why is that? Because one of the kids has a small chunk of flesh missing and the other has blood all over his face. Very weird way for a nun to say this. Ah, kid stuff. Sure.
Huh.
Yep, kid stuff. Well, I won't get in your way. I'll come back for my winnings another day.
Huh.
Right. Your winnings. Come back soon. The kids won't say no to more toys. To more new toys. I'll see you around. Bye, mister.
Huh.
Aw, look at you two. Already best friends. Don't push it, Margaret. See you, kid. Oh, it is kind of cute. Toodaloo. Toodaloo. Okay. Small polish thing. I'm just going to bring this out. Unless once again, personal threshold. Unless there's a reason for it, I don't see why I have to walk all the way to the other end of the door to trigger this prompt, like this E prompt. It probably should be just triggered at this point, because unless there's a reason for you to want me to walk all the way to the end, which once again I'm not seeing. If you do, good for you. You can stick with this. Stretching it all the way into here makes a lot of sense, because once again, at least for me, I'd be sensitive about what you want the players to do and how much time they want you to do it, and this includes the few seconds it takes to cross that small boundary. Very sensitive about it myself, personally, so... Officer Jenkins, look who's back. Had a good break. We got the accident under control, if you care. Oh, that was fast. Would have been faster with an extra set of hands. Oh, please. You didn't need me to rewind a few tapes. I could probably guess what happened even without them. I'm guessing about 3 people died with construction work on that street, so a traffic control flagger probably got killed. Is that what they're called? There was also a robbery in a nearby precinct earlier today. Bet that has something to do with this. Heck, I'm sure Samantha Green was involved too. Well, wait a minute. How do you know about Samantha Green? The victim's names were kept private. Well, I did say just about anyone could have guessed what happened. Fine, keep your secrets. If you already knew so much without being there, it would have helped save us some time. Something about that flow that just doesn't rub me right, but it's not horrible. Well, it's solved anyway, so I didn't need to. It's about the principle. Did you mean to say it's the principle of the thing? Yeah, and I have another work. I have other work to do. Dialogue feels a bit clunky. Guess the kid's not so weird after all. I should play Margaret a visit again sometime. This might be something interesting. This, you feel like somehow he feels is less weird? I feel that this is weirder. It's like, oh hey, cool, the kid's prosthetic. Alright. So that's the demo. It was pretty short. I thought I could make a longer stream out of this, but like it is pretty short. So it's just one puzzle and all that kind of stuff. So let's go through it together a little bit. What I think of the game, it has potential. It's pretty basic, pretty safe. Like as in, don't get me wrong when I say stuff like safe and all that kind of stuff. I'm not too familiar with the genre, so I really can't speak to how much innovation is really desired within the genre, because it's very different, right? When you're making games like more gimmicky puzzle games and or even action games and stuff like that, because you want a different way for your brain to process what the experience is. So like, although in action games, for example, you're always just pressing, like for example, square, you want the game to specifically give you different triggers so that it feels different. Like say for example, QTEs, or oh, square could mean this action as opposed to the other action, you know, sometimes, and stuff like that. So it gives you a different vibe, feel, and check. This sort of detective puzzle games, I don't feel like I feel like it's more of a narrative kind of thing, like where the story, the characters, and the mystery is the one that carries the game's experience. So that one needs to go first. Like that is the big things you sort of have to do right. So the vibe check's kind of cool, the animation is kind of cool, the styles are pretty nice. So that all fits in pretty nicely. The parts that need a little bit more refinement obviously are like, oh yeah, like art, like in terms of like mood setting, I think could be improved a little bit better. The story flow can be a little less clunky, but given the game in its state like this early, my guess and my vibe feel is that this is still probably an early draft of the writing, like as in they're probably wanting to see how like early playthroughs feel like, and they want to see whether anyone like genuinely goes, oh, this feels a bit off, and stuff like that. And from that feedback, you'll probably look for ways to try and improve on it, find ways to fine-tune the flow and stuff like that. For what it's worth, with that in mind, the fact that they have a working serviceable tutorial is kind of cool. Like I do think that that's kind of nice, because I can imagine them just slapping like an instruction image in front of me and saying, here, go have fun, you know? Like, it's so easy, and like so many people, like I've seen so many games, they literally just slap you with like, you know, instructions in front of you as a singular image without actually doing a tutorial flow and just calling it a day. So that's a whole thing on its own. Yeah. So credit where credit is due. That's the fact that they actually have a functioning tutorial, but requires a little bit more polish, is definitely worth clapping for. The idea has its merits. I do kind of think it's cute that you just separate it into the separate images, have different prompts and triggers, and just like, hey, through context cues and everything else, try and figure out what it was. I don't know whether it was necessarily intentional that like it was already, the images were automatically already arranged to timetable, because I felt like that could be added to the puzzle. Like, I feel like it was hinted that it was intentional, like it was intended that the pictures would be out of order, but somewhere in this demo it was automatically made into, like, set up so that it was chronologically aligned, like in proper chronological order. Yeah, so I that could be a thing that they might be expanding on, I'm assuming, as part of a gameplay thing. Aside from that, there's a lot of tiny little UX things, as I was like mentioning. Like, you can see it as I was playing, right? Stuff like, for example, how you click and how you click and sort of choose how you click and choose like words and stuff, how it copies and stuff like that. Like, I think, like, it's this kind of weird thing where it's automated in a way that's very specific to a person's what feels intuitive to a person, and everyone can have slight disparities in what feels intuitive. So because of that, some of the conveniences that are put into the game can sometimes feel like at least for me, I feel like I'm fighting against the game a little bit sometimes when these conveniences show up. Like, for example, like highlighting and auto copying, right? Like, when that happens, I'm not necessarily hyper aware that it was happening. So like halfway through the game, you can see me going like, oh wait, this actually, like, my notepad has been like become so much longer. And there was no feedback that I noticed that tells me that, oh, actually no, the words are actually being copied at the bottom of the notepad, and you know, you might need to check into that and stuff like that. How to improve it? There are a lot of ways I can imagine. One of it is obviously just, you know, having some sort of flashy prompt that actually gives it to you. Or every time, say for example, you go into the next page, what happens is that there's a small animation that flips the flipbook, because it's a flipbook, right? And then from there, you have a small tab at the side there that actually shows you page 1, page 2, page 3, and you know, like, and then you have a page 4 tab that's right in front, like the page number tab that's right in front of you, so you can like roughly see. Obviously, you can do a bunch of different variations to this to make it feel more diegetic. But yeah, approaches like that would be kind of nice. Yeah, aside from that, I think it's okay. Like, yeah, the game definitely has a lot of charm. Like, I do think the idea that they had that whole girl that can't draw really well, and you sort of have to figure out and piece it together kind of thing, which is pretty okay. Strangely enough, I felt like that gimmick isn't pushed hard enough though in this demo. I feel like it's still very easy for you to tell what the pictures are. Like, yes, it's a childhood doodle and stuff, but like, I feel like it's very obvious to say like, oh yeah, this is this is going to be a dead person. Like, you're not going to make a mistake where you think that something's not something else, you know, that kind of thing. Like, you thinking that it's a radio or a music player or stuff like that, like, it's very obvious. And any subtleties, or sorry, any questions about what it is automatically disappears when like especially when you're pressing the shift key and you watch the thing dance, and they automatically like they show you that it's an interactable, and you show you hints and stuff like that. The reason, so you'll notice that I'm very hesitant about talking about this is because my brain is also measuring it against once again what my unfamiliarity with the genre, like whether this is just something that, oh yeah, no, it's pretty common in the genre and it's perfectly acceptable, and to the back of my head going like, what does this mean for the game, and is there a way to make it more curious, you know? I remember a long time ago I was playing this game on what was it, on, it's one of those, is it Newgrounds? I think it was Newgrounds. And the game was called Alice is Dead, I think. In case you don't know, I'm a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. Every time I see an Alice game, I get like a little excited, and I'm like, oh yeah, totally, I'm just gonna check it out. So this very specific one had a take on Alice where they had her in prison and she's supposed to go, like, you know, escape and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a lot of point and click discovery stuff regarding the game, but everything about it was like they did this whole like, oh yeah, you have to for example use a magnifying glass on an object to make it bigger, and from there use it to, for example, break down a door or something. By the way, I'm making up the puzzle, I don't remember the game anymore, it's been so long. But yeah, like kind of like that. This is definitely, Detective Hindsight is definitely not that kind of game. But I there's obviously a part of me that couldn't help but to wonder whether that can be an aspect to the game, you know, like whether you could have scenes or puzzles where Phoebe draws like this giant scene that's across like 6 or 9 pieces of paper, and the way you need to sort of figure out where every piece goes, right? Or whether it feels like it's supposed to follow in a chronological order and stuff like that, right? Is by noticing how the lines connect against the pieces of paper. Obviously, it's going to be pretty straightforward, but at the same time, that sort of helps and gives you a sense of how like simple puzzles can still be done. You know, like, oh yeah, this is like it'll be pretty direct and it wouldn't be all that difficult. Yeah. Because I'm really trying to explore in my head at least, like how the gimmick of Phoebe not being a good artist and how you're supposed to solve questions as puzzles like this with Phoebe's art can be really explored and expanded on. The premise is okay. Yeah, I think that's all in my head at least. I can't think of anything else that I would care to mention. Yeah, overall, as a first-time project, the game feels promising. Like it gives me, I can't remember which game it was, but I remember like playing a couple of point and click adventure games a long time ago that had sort of a detective feel to it as well. I don't think the game was ever really properly finished, but yeah, yeah, it had very similar feels to this. So yeah, I'm just quickly starting to realize that this is not necessarily a great like streaming format for me, because my brain's like measuring against a lot of different things while I'm trying to assess like criticism and stuff like that. But I feel like I've more or less covered everything that needs to be covered. There's also a very small tiny little thing, largely QOL stuff. My mouse cursor is really small and it looks kind of ugly against the really stylized art. That might be a thing for you guys to consider, for the team to consider if they're watching. Yeah, but yeah, no, aside from that, I think it's pretty good. Guys, please, okay, so I think I'm more or less done for tonight. This is actually a lot shorter than I thought it would be. I thought it would be a little bit longer. But then again, you know, like I I really don't know what I was supposed to be expecting. So we're all finding out today together. It's a pretty short stream today, I guess. We'll probably... Oh, hi Fear Fantasy, thank you. So I figured it might have been you guys like on the chat, but I wanted to play dumb. But yes, I think. Oh, also on a small side note, this is really once again another personal thing. If this is intended as a kids game, I'm gonna be a devil's advocate here, and I'm gonna ask you, do you really need the guy to be smoking? Because in general, if you're going to get ratings for your game, like getting your game rated, any depictions of smoking, alcohol, or drug use tends to bump your game's ratings up a little bit higher. So while I recognize it as an icon of the trope of the genre, I would really consider whether I really want to use it. Like I would honestly go as far as to like just put incense there or something if you really want that smoking, like the waspy smoke feel to it, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, just things worth considering. Yeah. So all right, I think I'm more or less done. Good job, guys, at Broccoli Bunny Studios. I think it's definitely a very interesting experience. Once again, a genre that I'm not too familiar with. Realizing my presentation was all over the place a little bit as well, so I'm getting delayed embarrassment pangs. But yes, it was kind of fun though. It's nice to... the puzzle's kind of cute. The game has a lot of charm. For those of you guys who watched this stream, I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is technically my first ever sponsored stream, so... and by the way, I probably should flag out, in case you guys didn't notice, right? Like, I did a lot of premise checking in the beginning of this stream, because I want you guys to recognize that, like, not only am I going to try to be nice, because, hey, you know, state of the game and all that, right? But two, despite this technically being a sponsored stream, because as I said, the devs actually gave me the code, I'm not the type that likes to filter myself too much. Like, if there's criticism, I think criticism should be given freely and openly so that you can improve. The hit space should be in that space. For the person who's receiving criticism, and this is one thing that I try to do for myself, and these guys, I will give them credit for. Like, these guys are amazing. Like, the guy that I talked to, Kenneth, at least, he's amazing at, like, specifically taking this whatever criticisms I've laid on, at least from my interactions with him. Incredibly pleasant guy. Like, there is just a vibe about him that I feel is incredible and super duper healthy. Really wish I had that in myself a little bit more too. So yes, I am giving my criticisms freely, and this is unfiltered, to be fair. Although technically this is a sponsored stream, I don't feel obliged to be nice, because if I don't present everything that's worth criticizing, I feel that you can improve. So that's the intent of this. In case you're wondering, I am trying to drag this stream out a little bit longer. All right. Okay, I can't do this for another 10 minutes. I was hoping to hit the 2-hour mark, but I definitely can't do it for that long. I think I've only been streaming for about like an hour or so, so this is going to be a really, really short stream. I hope you guys enjoyed this so far. If I ever get a chance to actually do this kind of stuff, I'd be happy to do it more. With any luck, we can talk more about like how games can be improved, or how even things can evolve. I'm always looking for opportunities like that. For now, till the next time, I'll see you guys around. Have a great weekend ahead. I do have streaming plans for next week, but I may not be streaming this weekend. So keep that in mind. I'll see you guys next time I'm back. Probably next week. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend ahead. Atas. Oh, by the way, because of how this game works, everything's gonna fall real quiet after this. At least for a few seconds. Until I fade away and I swap back to the game. By the way, I probably should mention one extra thing. I do apologize, by the way. I kind of forgot to change the script on my scrolling text. So throughout the entire stream, the scrolling text was calling the segment something else. Broccoli Bunny Studios, I'm horribly apologetic. I'm so sorry for all that mix up. I'll promise to do better. Still loving the vibes of this music though.